Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Virginia's exploding craft beer industry was showcased at the recent State Fair of Virginia. Chris Mullins has a unique gift in mind for your favorite gardener, and we visit scenic Albemarle County to learn how local farmers impact their community. Welcome back, everyone. We are coming to you from Carter Mountain Orchard in Albemarle County. This is an area in Virginia rich in history and agriculture, so we're going to talk about the impact that the industry has in this community later on in the show. But first, Norm Hyde takes a look at the crucial impact agriculture plays in Virginia's growing craft beer industry.
Virginia's craft beer industry is bursting at the seams. There's so many options and so many choices today. And while connoisseurs enjoy the variety around the state, there's a silent partner that's giving many brewers a boost: Virginia farmers.
All of us in this room are always trying to inject local ingredients into all of our beers, and I really feel we look at each product that we make, and first and foremost, if we have Virginia ingredients that fit into our recipes, we definitely want to put them in there. A great example for Strangeways is our largest selling beers are a Monkey Belgian White Ale, and we use a local Virginia wildflower honey in that product.
Every meeting we have of our guild, there is a conversation that goes on about how can they source more hops locally, how can they get their malt locally, what other products, what other grains can they produce locally. And it's really turning out to be a great news story for that local supply chain being within the Commonwealth.
The full tent at the inaugural Blue Ribbon Craft Beer Festival at the 2017 State Fair of Virginia said it all. Craft beer has arrived. 23 brewers were represented at the showcase, some from as far away as Southwest Virginia. Brewers like Burton say Virginia fruit and honey are especially popular ingredients, and that's been a benefit to farmers.
The apiaries there wasn't numerous ones around, and the ones that were there had a very limited amount of production. And we actually, when we let them know the amount of honey we needed, it was a little bit of a shock to them at first. But what happened was we built a demand, we think, and these apiaries are now able to acquire more honey on a regular basis. They've upped their hive numbers.
The popularity of craft beer can be traced to its unique taste compared to mass-produced beers. The industry is growing quickly, in part thanks to a state grant program administered by Governor Terry McAuliffe and the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. 40% of recent agriculture and forest industry development program grants went to craft breweries.
A requirement of that program is actually use 30%, at least 30% of your inputs from local Virginia farms. So far here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, it's been averaging about 80% of the inputs actually coming from Virginia produce, Virginia farms. So a huge impact on agriculture here in the Commonwealth.
The agricultural side is working, and the most notable is we had no farm breweries when we started this enterprise, and now we have, I think, approaching 7. So these are traditional farms that are making agricultural products that said, you know what, we want to start a brewery and be able to capitalize on making that plow to pint.
Craft beer requires a number of quality ingredients like hops, malt, and grain. Virginia farmers have been growing more local hops in recent years, and small grains, especially barley, are readily available. The barley must be malted before using it to make beer. The newest trend in craft brewing is called plow to pint, where brewers raise all the ingredients themselves.
It's easy to purchase the stuff for sure, and because it just shows up on your door. But when you're growing it, you got to tend to it just like any other crop, and but it shows up in the end product. You know, when you have cherries, like we're growing cherries, it doesn't compare to you know, putting something non-fresh in our fruit or our beers. You know, it's something that I would love to see more people do because it preserves open space, preserves farmland. It's either, you know, we're growing houses or we're growing grains or something else. So it's something that I like to see.
While the Agriculture Department has helped link breweries with farmers, Burton says most brewers start their own supply networks. So if you want to start growing ingredients for craft beer, reach out to your local brewery and start a conversation, preferably over a pint of their best brew. In Caroline County, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde.
The Virginia Craft Breweries Guild had 11 members in 2010 when it began representing small brewers across the Commonwealth. At the end of 2017, there were 213 independent craft breweries, with several more gearing up production. You can learn more at virginiacraftbrewers.org. If you're pining for a pint of locally brewed beer, they're located across the state. The Agriculture Department estimates the craft beer industry now has an economic impact in Virginia of more than $1 billion and supports hundreds of jobs in both rural and urban areas.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about gifts for the home gardener from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
More than 90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made a promise to our local farmers to protect and preserve a way of life they'd worked so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member and enjoy the many benefits of membership. There's a local Farm Bureau in every county of the state. We think everyone should be a friend to the farm. Visit our website at vafb.com to learn more.
It's holiday season, and that can mean it can be kind of difficult finding the perfect gift for your favorite gardener. Chris Mullins takes us to a Virginia company that specializes in irrigation systems, not only for the farmer, but for the home gardener from the ground up.
Hi and welcome. Today we're at Berry Hill Irrigation in Clarksville, Virginia, and we're talking about gifts that you might want to give your home gardener. And one of the things when you think about gifts might be an irrigation system. We're in this nice high tunnel greenhouse with all these beautiful plants growing. And it's kind of a commercial setting, but things are being irrigated with drip irrigation here. We're here with John Davidson. John, I know when your dad Joe started this business, he was selling drip irrigation to large commercial growers in the 1980s. And it really took off and did well. A lot of those growers were able to grow a lot of crops better, get better yields because of that. Now, what do you think about a home gardener? Can they use drip irrigation? Would it help them, I guess is what I'm saying?
Yes, we sell some small kits that are packages that are everything's put together that you can take home, and you know that you're going to have everything that you need to hook right up to a garden hose.
Oh, that is great. So they can get even better yield and consistency, just like these big growers.
Right, you get all the benefits of the larger systems.
Well, that's great. Can we go see some of those kits that you have and how they go together?
Sure.
Well, John, in the high tunnel, all the things were growing, and the irrigation was underneath, at the root zone, underneath that plastic. Is that right?
That's right. We're trying to keep the water at the root zone to deliver the water and nutrients.
Yeah, because that's a lot more efficient probably than an overhead irrigation system also.
Right. You get a lot less disease and a lot less evaporation.
Makes sense. So you all sell a gardening kit, more or less. You know, these kind of components would make up a home gardener type kit versus some of the bigger things that you'd sell to commercial growers. How does something like this go together? What are the parts and the pieces? What do you have here, and how is it easy to put together?
So these are the main components of it. Basically, you'll have your filter and pressure regulator assemblies, this piece right here. This is the header pipe that brings the water out. You'll have this punch tool.
Okay.
Punch a hole wherever you need it to be in the line. You then take your fitting that you can cut every row on and off individually.
Wow.
And then the drip tape pushes right together.
Oh wow! And so this actually goes down the row where the roots are, and it just drips out.
That's right. The emitters are built into the line every 12 inches, and it'll water a row very evenly all the way through.
Oh, that is wonderful. Now, how much would some of your garden kits cost in general?
Right, we have garden kits that start out as low as $50, and most of them are around, go up to about $250 for a large home garden.
I got you. And they can be used year after year?
Right, typically these people use them for 5 to 10 years.
Okay. I know some of the people I talk to, gardeners, will sometimes use soaker hoses and things that are really inexpensive, but I think this might have some advantages compared to a soaker hose.
Right, this is, it lasts a lot longer, and it puts the water totally even at the beginning and the end of the rows.
So John, can you also automate these systems? So if somebody's not at home, they can still maybe water their plants?
Sure, that's one of the big benefits of drip irrigation is we have these timers. They work off a 9-volt battery. They let you go on vacation and they turn the systems on and off as you like.
Oh, that's convenient. I love that. And okay, what is this thing right here?
This is a fertilizer injector, and what you do is you add the fertilizer to this tank, and you can choose how fast or how slow you want it to put it onto the crop.
Oh, that is great. So you're adding fertilizer right to the root zone with the water?
Yes, we're adding all the water and nutrients directly to the root of the plants where it can best use it.
Oh, that is great. Well, John, thank you so much for letting us come out today and see all the potential presents, Christmas presents for the home gardeners out there. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, for more information about irrigation systems, contact Berry Hill and look at their website or talk to a master gardener. From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Beer-battered fish is a popular entree in many Virginia restaurants. Chef Maxwell shows us how to prepare it in the heart of the home. Next. Comfort food is always in order in cold weather. Today, Chef John Maxwell has a family favorite recipe for beer-battered fish in the heart of the home.
Hi, we're here at Meadow Hall at Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia. Today we're going to play with some great Virginia fish, farm-raised tilapia, and we're going to do something a little different with it. We're going to do a beer batter for it. So I've got Shayna Pearson from Stratford University's Culinary Arts School. I'm her instructor over there. She's come here to help me today. So we've got fish, we've got the ingredients. We're going to make a little tartar sauce, and you ready? Okie doke. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is make the batter, and I've got some flour here. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper to the batter, and I'm going to add some baking powder, all right, to make it puff a little bit. Now, we always mix the dry ingredients first when we're using baking powder so that we don't wind up activating the reaction. All right, now we're going to add a beaten egg. All right. I'm just going to use a fork to beat this up. All right. And that's going in there. And we're going to add some beer. This calls for about a cup of beer, which is about 2/3 of a bottle. All right. But we're looking more for the batter consistency than we are for the actual measurement. So we need a little bit more. Well, we need a little more beer, so surprise, surprise. All right. So this is the batter. We want to be able to dip the fish into this batter, have the batter stick to it, but not be clumpy or thick. So now, Shayna is going to help us out here. All right. And we're going to move this batter over here. You use your tongs for a minute. All right. I'm going to season up this fish just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. All right, now Shayna, what we're going to do is we're going to take the fish, all right, and we're going to dredge it a little bit in the flour, dip it in the batter, let it drip just a little bit, and then into the fat it goes. You got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you see how it floated and it's puffy, now we're just waiting for color. Yes. All right? So you can go ahead and do that. You don't want to crowd the pan too much. 3 pieces, 4 pieces, something like that in there, depending on the size. And then you wait for it to get done, pull them out to the paper. All right? While you're doing that, I'm going to make some tartar sauce. All right? So first thing for the tartar sauce is some mayonnaise. I want to use a good quality mayonnaise. since that's the bulk of this dish. And so we got some mayonnaise. I got about a cup and a half of mayonnaise in here. Now I'm going to add some cornichons and some capers. You can get those at any grocery store. A cornichon is a little bit more, it's a sophisticated dill pickle. So you can use dill pickle if you'd like. Right? I'm not going to put as much in there as that. Right? Right? And I'm going to use some grainy mustard. Now I'm going to mix this up. All right. All right. So we've got that pretty well mixed. I'm going to take a little bit of white vinegar and put that in. All right. And mix that up. I'm going to take my lemon. I'm going to just kind of roll it a little bit to loosen up the insides. Then cut it and squeeze about the juice of half a lemon, about a tablespoon. All right. And now we've got the tartar sauce done. Move this into a dish. How are we doing on that fish, Shana?
Almost there, Chef.
Good deal. Ah, perfect. Look at these gorgeous fish. All right. We're going to put these on the plate. All right. That's beautiful. Smells delightful. Did a great job. Put that over here. I'm going to put a couple of lemons on here to make it look pretty. All right, there's enough. And I'm going to add a little tomato concassé to this tartar sauce. All right. The tomato concassé is a tomato that has had the skin taken off of it, usually by blanching it in boiling water for a minute. And then it's peeled, seeded, and diced up into brunoise, which is an 1/8 of an inch by an 1/8 of an inch by an 1/8 of an inch cube. So that's really just a garnish. It's not there to add much, but it does add some acid. All right. So there we go. Beer-battered fish with tartar sauce. Join us next week on Heart of the Home when we get to play with more great Virginia food.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Maxwell's website at chefjohnmaxwell.com. Aquaculture, or the raising of fish on farms, is rising in popularity. Some farmers raise fish in ponds on their land. Others use a series of indoor tanks to maximize productivity. Catfish, hybrid striped bass, prawns, tilapia, and trout are some of the fish varieties raised in captivity in the Old Dominion. Cold water species like trout are typically raised in the mountains of Virginia, and warm water species are raised across the rest of the state.
Albemarle County in Central Virginia is this week's County Agricultural Close-Up. As Dave Miller reports, farming continues to be very important to this county that surrounds Charlottesville.
Close to the geographic center of the state, Albemarle County was carved out of nearby Goochland County, Virginia, in 1744. Its most famous inhabitant was Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence, one of the nation's founding fathers, and the third president. His home, Monticello, is still there and open to the public, as are his extensive gardens and agricultural experiments. And there's a major university he founded in nearby Charlottesville, the University of Virginia, all of which is surrounded by some of the prettiest farmland in Virginia.
Why is Albemarle County beautiful? Why do people come here? And one of the big things is for the agriculture, because we are able to farm it, keep it open, keep it from being developed.
E.N. Garnett is a former dairy farmer in the county. He's seen the local dairy industry almost disappear in his lifetime. But in recent decades, other agricultural enterprises have replaced dairy in the area, businesses that are more consumer-focused.
Back 30, 40 years ago, we just didn't have the vineyards. We didn't have all the venues that a lot of farms have, renting out for weddings. They have the corn mazes. They're just a number of different things. And of course, the latest thing we have in the county are the breweries that are raising hops. So there is quite a diversification in this county. We pull a lot of people from Washington, D.C., a lot of the cities that come in.
For a county that surrounds a kind of a little urban area, I think it's very unique that we've got farms and orchards, we've got wineries, we've got cattle, we got vegetables, a little bit of everything right here in our little micro area.
With 946 farms on more than 169,000 acres, agriculture is the principal purpose of most of the usable land in Albemarle County. The majority of those farms are smaller than 180 acres, but there are a few larger operations as well. The top agricultural products are fruit like apples and grapes, cattle and calves, corn, hay, and soybeans. Horse farmers and nursery products round out the top moneymakers for Albemarle County farmers. Being close to a major university does make a difference in how the farming community interacts with customers, according to local beef producer Rob Harrison. For one thing, the local foods movement took root here more than a decade ago, and that means agriculture is a major employer in the area.
Well, ag's changing tremendously in a couple ways. One thing has become a little more segmented. You've got what I call commercial producers who have to be bigger and more efficient to make money these days with the higher costs of operating and regulations and things of that nature. Also, you have a lot more of the smaller farms of people that grow their own products on, say, just a few acres and sell at farmers markets and do that value adding, so added products. So, you know, I think it's a little easier for some of the younger folks to get in now because those markets are available that weren't really that obvious 10 to 15 years ago.
The customers used to come in and buy bushels and bushels to go home and do canning or freezing or preserving. There's more dual income families. People don't have time or the knowledge to do that. So they're very much interested in more prepared foods, you know, or they want some ideas. If I pick all these apples, what am I going to do with them? So we try to provide them recipes, ways to utilize the fruit, how to store it so that it'll last them longer.
Even though the urban community can be sympathetic to local farmers, there still is some friction. Most residents have no understanding of what it takes to run a farm, no matter the size.
I grew up on a farm, but a large majority of people are not. And so they do not understand the noise, the smell, the tractors on the road, those kind of conditions. And we ask that, you know, you be a little more understanding in that fact. If you run the farmers out, then we're not going to have the open spaces like we've had before.
Sounds and smells and slow-moving vehicles on the roads it's very difficult sometimes to take equipment up and down the road because we're wider than in some of this bigger equipment, and then just be patient and try to be safe.
With consumers who are highly motivated to learn where their food comes from and how it is raised, Albemarle County farmers have a ready-made local market for their goods. And it's easy for consumers to visit a farm for themselves. And that's what Albemarle County farmers want their urban neighbors to do: share and enjoy their beautiful countryside and help them preserve agriculture in the community for years to come. In Albemarle County, Virginia, I'm Dave Miller.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Chesapeake Bay.